What's up, meathead? It's Coach Mandler here. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how you can instantly alleviate some of the shoulder pain you might be experiencing when doing either a vertical press or horizontal press with either a barbell, kettlebell, or a dumbbell. It's a very simple form trick that will instantly not only alleviate this pain, but enhance your performance for more size and strength gains as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Before we get into these simple cues and form tips that'll help alleviate your pain and enhance your performance, we have to understand the shoulder joint itself. Now, with the shoulder, what we do have is a ton of mobility, okay? But when you have a lot of mobility, the trade-off is a lack of stability. So when that's the case, we have to understand how to manipulate the musculature surrounding this joint so that you can naturally insulate and stabilize it during whatever press that you're going to do. So understand this first and foremost about these form tips. They have everything to do with how you manipulate your body's anatomy to help naturally and actively stabilize this joint during the movement itself. Okay, so when we're talking about how stabilizing the joint during the presses, whether that be a horizontal press or a vertical press being our friend for alleviating pain and causing enhancement in performance, you have to look at the opposite for what is causing pain and inflammation in the first place. And that is an unstable environment during the press. So what we want to do is look at both the initiation of the press, or the starting point of the press, as well as the finishing point. So the first thing I notice with a lot of people that complain about shoulder pain whenever they're pressing, whether it be a flat bench, incline bench, or overhead, is that when they are pressing, all right, instead of externally rotating their shoulder, they will internally rotate it and initiate, let's say, the overhead press or the flat bench from this position out here with their elbows flailed out. All right, what that causes is a very just not stable environment for the head of the humerus to go into. And when you come and press from this point, it being very unstable, what's going to happen is as you come up the lockout, the head of the humerus is going to kind of pinch against the acromion, which is the bone that kind of lays on top of the head of the humerus, and that's going to be causing a lot of pain, a lot of inflammation that has chronic issues. So not only is it unnatural when, let's say, you press in this internally shoulder rotated position, all right, it's very just uncomfortable and painful instantly when I'm doing this, but also over time, if you continue that, you're going to have a lot of inflammation in the joints, and that is going to lead to you ultimately not wanting to train and not being able to train. So what I can tell you just from the get-go, this simple form cue from the initiation point of whatever press you're doing, whether it be with a bar, a kettlebell, or a dumbbell, and whether it is a flat bench or standing up with a vertical press, is that you have to learn to press while making sure the initiation point has your shoulder externally rotated. And the simplest way, if you don't really understand what I mean by that, to make it happen is to tuck your shoulders in. You want your elbows tucked against your rib cage, almost pinching against that point. And what that does is that externally rotates your shoulders and alleviates that pain naturally caused from the head of the humerus and everything in that capsulated area to pinch against that acromion. All right, so with that being said, the other thing you have to look into specific to the overhead press is going to be, once you do externally rotate that shoulder, you want to, what I call, pack your shoulders. And that means you're going to depress, pull down your scapula so that you can learn to help activate your upper back and your lats in conjunction with the primary movers of the exercise, or the primary movers that are helping you initiate and execute the exercise itself. So that means, let's say if I'm doing, let's say in this case, a kettlebell overhead press. Okay, so I'm externally rotating my shoulder, which pulls my elbow in. I'm then actively pulling that elbow against the top of my rib cage and then pulling those scapula down, depressing them so that while, yes, the shoulder is getting the bulk of the work during the press, while like going through this movement, what's happening is my back is helping to stabilize the head of the humerus while it's moving in that track or that path. Okay, so remember, during initiation, instead of internally rotating your shoulders and having the press initiated from out here, externally rotate, pull those elbows in, pack them, depress them, and that will help you better stabilize the head of the humerus while it goes through the movement itself. That brings me to the next point, the lockout, okay? When I tell people to make sure their joints are stacked vertically during their pressing movements, what I mean by that is this. Best way to see this is from the side. I don't want to see you out here, okay? This is not stacked vertically. It's not perpendicular to the ground. What I want to see is, boom, everything from wrist, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle, all in vertical alignment, perpendicular to the ground. That is going to completely eliminate any power leaks and also at the same time alleviate a lot of shoulder pain that's going to happen in the anterior and the medial portion of your shoulder. So, the other caveat to that is with a horizontal press, very slightly different. The only thing that's going to change is the fact that on top of externally rotating your shoulder and keeping those scapula depressed, pulled down, you're also going to retract. Retraction is going to be, boom, pulling here. That again is going to help you recruit your back to help insulate and stabilize the head of the humerus while the primary movers are doing their job to press. Okay, so here's what it's going to look like here. I'm going to retract, press, and I'm initiating it from right here, not out here. Out here, very unstable, very painful, will lead to instant or chronic injury. So instead of internally rotating my shoulder, keeping it tucked in, and boom, press. And if you look, wrist is on top of elbow, elbow on top of shoulder. That vertical alignment is what allows for a powerful movement that's also pain-free. And the beauty of these very simple cues, making sure that with the overhead press, like I said, externally rotated, elbows tucked in, shoulder depressed, all right, or scapula depressed, and then making sure, boom, you're aligned vertically from top to bottom. It's on top of that. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. The same thing is really true regardless of what implement you're using. Yeah, the barbell is more of a fixed position movement, but the same is true, all right? It is a little bit tougher to give you a good cue to really understand this, but one of the things that really helped me with both the bench press and overhead press to help teach me to engage my back while pressing to help stabilize the movement, given the fact that I can't manipulate the grip really, it's just set right here, is to imagine that you're breaking the bar, all right? So almost like you're bending it, all right? When you do that, you notice naturally my shoulders, they externally rotate, my elbows will come in. So I'm not out here, I'm here. Boom, pressing there. Boom, pressing there. So initiation is the same. Externally rotated, Elbows tucked in, pinched against the top of my rib cage. Scapula pulled down, depressed to help my back stabilize so that the primary movers can do their job. The other points I'm trying to make here, remember, again, at that lockout, make sure you get that head through so that at the top, it's not leaning forward and unstable. Instead, it's very like a column, very strong, perpendicular, vertical oriented. It's a good power position that not only improves your performance, but alleviates a lot of that pain in the ass shoulder pain that makes people never want to do any type of horizontal or vertical press. So if you are having any shoulder pain with either the horizontal press or a vertical press, whether it be with a barbell, a dumbbell, or a kettlebell, utilize those simple cues, and I promise not only will your pain immediately go away, but you'll also see dramatic improvements in your performance as well.
Hey man, thank you so much for checking out today's video. If you have any further questions about the content here, just fire them off down below. If you enjoyed it and want me to share more like this that help to inspire new training ideas for you, then do me a solid and hit the thumbs up button so I know you're digging the content I'm hooking you up with here. Subscribe and hit the alert icon so you get notified the instant I post new tips and routines every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And lastly, don't leave without first grabbing your free copy of the Kettlebell Cardio Blueprint that I put together for you by clicking on either the image that you see right over there to the right or on the pin link at the very top of the comment section down below. Appreciate your time, guys. Have a good one. Mandler out.